Is eating disorder recovery even real? Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a therapist on Long Island, New York that specializes in the treatment of eating disorders and body image issues. If you're interested in learning more about that or just general mental health, please click the subscribe button down below. Is recovery even real? This may sound like a really confusing and loaded and weird question to ask, but I get this question actually a lot when someone who is suffering from an eating disorder is embarking on the beginnings of recovery and also later in recovery when they're working hard in recovery. Why is it a question? A big reason why it is a question, and I talked about this in other videos, I'll leave some links in the description below, is because when you embark in recovery and when you get further along in recovery, what happens is that you have a whole other set of challenges as you continue to recover. So what might have been something totally, no pun intended, off the table early on in recovery is now something that you're able to tackle. However, when you are able to tackle that, then it's something that causes anxiety and your eating disorder to flare up, and it might seem really confusing, and I'll give an example I've used before. So early on in eating disorder recovery, perhaps there's absolutely no chance in hell that you're going to try to go to a restaurant. But later on in recovery, as you are more comfortable with around food, although it's not something that's going to be super comfortable in any time soon, then you start to say, okay, I think I can start challenging myself with going to some restaurants. So then you go to a restaurant, but then a whole anxiety flare up occurs, and you're thinking, wow, I'm so not far along in my recovery as I had thought I was. But that is not true. Think about it this way. You were not able to do something that now you're challenging yourself to do. Just because you're challenging yourself and other anxiety is coming up from that does not mean you're not recovering. It means that it's part of the process. Recovery is not linear. Recovery is messy. And it's just like really anything. In order to grow as a person, we need to start stepping outside of our comfort zone. And our comfort zone applies to everything. In this case, our eating disorder. So when you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone with your eating disorder, it's going to contribute to more anxiety and other feelings that are coming up, which might make you feel like you're really not as far along in recovery as you thought. Back to the question, is recovery even real? Well, it really depends on your beliefs. If you truly believe that recovery isn't real, you're probably right. If you believe that recovery is real, you're probably right. And the reason for this is because our brains are so powerful. If you convince yourself and you are a naysayer that recovery is real, you probably really won't recover. And that's something that is really difficult to accept, but this is why I bring that up, is because you need to start shifting your mindset. And even if you don't know what recovery is like, even if you don't know how it could possibly be, how you could possibly be fully recovered, just holding on to the hope that there is such thing as recovery, that is the only thing that I'm challenging you to believe. I know, it's not a belief for me, I know that recovery is real. I've seen it many times, and that is something that I'm hoping that you could trust me on and truly believe for yourself. It is unknown. Full eating disorder recovery is unknown to you at this point in time, but doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean it's not real. What does recovery look like? When you are further along in recovery, you may notice that there are some passing and fleeting thoughts regarding your weight, regarding body image, regarding, possibly a very quick thought that you should engage in behavior that was your eating disorder. And I'll give you an example. Let's say when you're stressed, it makes you start to not want to eat as much. And that is something that you've learned in your eating disorder is a form of control. It's a form of coping in your eating disorder. So let's say 5 years passes and you're really far along in recovery, you don't have many eating disorder thoughts, but a stressful moment comes, and instantaneously you have this urge to, I need to restrict my food intake. But then it passes. And that's something that's really possible. You can have those thoughts, you can have those urges that pop up, but what you're feeling now is nothing compared to that. What you're feeling now, those urges and those thoughts are so strong within you and early on in recovery. And by early on, I mean like the first couple of years. I mean, it is a long process. But when you can imagine, having a time 5 years down the line or further that you have a fleeting thought and just as fast as it came, it went, that is what recovery can look like for you. You just need to believe it for yourself. I truly hope that you could take my word for it and believe and hold on to the hope that recovery is possible for you as well. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below whether you believe recovery is real, yes or no. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please click my face over here to do so. And I wish you belief in recovery on your journey to finding your state of balance. Hope to see you in my next video.